Manchester City versus Liverpool is the biggest game in the Premier League this season and has massive repercussions for the Premier League title race. I'm going to break down Liverpool's perspective going into the game and Manchester City's, and of course, give a big fat bold score prediction at the end of the video. Leave yours down below right now. But an overview for the game has to be that Arsenal, even if City win, will be 6 points clear of Manchester City and obviously massively clear of Liverpool. A draw is an absolutely shocking result for both clubs as well. And you could even argue that Liverpool winning this game, which is very, very likely as well, so still a massively balanced game, would still give a massive amount of opportunity for Arsenal over Liverpool. They still have loads of points over them. So this title race is very, very stretched. But a draw, I don't think it is going to be a draw. That's a spoiler. But this kind of draw that a lot of football fans are talking about this game would be a real blow, a real big, massive bit of momentum for Arsenal. We've got Sunderland coming up as well. We have to start off with Liverpool, who put in their best performance of the season against Real Madrid. As a neutral, if you're looking at it, you have to say at least Manchester City, who have just beaten Dortmund 4-1, Liverpool have beaten Real Madrid 2-0. Both sides go into the game in maybe the best form. Loads of players back from fitness, looking sharp, looking energetic, scoring big goals, just beating the biggest club in European football, Real Madrid, just beating a great Dortmund side that tend to score loads of goals themselves in the Champions League. It's almost set up in the most beautiful way. Maybe a few weeks ago, it might have been a dross, nervous affair, but hopefully this game, and I think it will, cause a lot of fireworks and be an electric atmosphere. You have to say Liverpool go in this game, as I've just said, with massive, massive confidence. One thing that's clearly working is the midfield, because the midfield right now is Szoboszlai, Gravenberch and McAllister is absolutely powerful, balanced, great on the ball. I don't even blame Arne Slot for it, because there have been injuries. McAllister's had a few knocks. Gravenberch's had a few knocks. He's had to bring in Frimpong. It hasn't quite worked at right back. Conor Bradley struggled against Chelsea, so he's put Szoboszlai at right back. It's just a manager that's dealing with the repercussions of injuries and trying to get new signings in there. Now that everyone's fit, we know the Liverpool midfield going into this game, and a couple of weeks ago, we might not have known. And for Liverpool, you have to say that's really, really strong, because this midfield will cover a lot of ground. It's balanced. It knows very, very well what to do. Got a very, very big win against Manchester City in February, a 2-0 win. Dominic Szoboszlai scored in that game. But the first thing we have to talk about is that midfield, because so balanced, so controlled, gives great service out to Salah. It's giving great quality of kind of final ball into the likes of Ekitike and Gakpo on the left, or even Florian Wirtz, who had one of his best games for Liverpool, maybe his best game against Real Madrid. All these guys, whoever it is, eventually Isaac when he comes back, Chiesa off the bench, they're all going to be having better confidence, better service, because the midfield is balanced. There's no holes in it. You're going to keep a little bit more of the ball, particularly away from home. Very, very important. And off the ball, Manchester City are going to have a lot of the ball in this game. Nico Gonzalez has been superb. Foden, Cherki, whoever. At least this Liverpool midfield looks far less porous. It's going to protect the back line a lot more. And again, that's down to the work rate of this Liverpool midfield. It's absolutely sensational. Dominic Szoboszlai, as I said, was outstanding against Real Madrid midweek. And you have to say he was outstanding against Manchester City in this game. Obviously, as I said, he scored in the game in February. He's been an all-action, well-rounded, high-level midfielder this season. He scored a big goal against Arsenal at the start of the season. How important was that? Now that Liverpool have had their bad bit of form, they're still in the title race because of that massive win at Anfield at the start of the season. If Arsenal had won that game, we could be thinking about next season already, because Arsenal could have wrapped up the title. I mean, at least Liverpool are still in touch and distance of Arsenal, 7 points behind them. Maybe Arsenal draw the game to Sunderland, who knows? So Liverpool, Dominic Szoboszlai, he single-handedly kept them in this title race and kept them in the Champions League in a big, big way with big results. Beating Real Madrid, Dominic Szoboszlai was absolutely everywhere. He's a workhorse, but he's got end products as well. Rightly so, he's being compared to someone like Steven Gerrard. Maybe not to the same absolute level, but as a player profile, very, very similar to Steven Gerrard. And you can't say that about too many modern footballers. Kind of an all-action, combative, high-quality midfielder that can do everything to a high level. A jack of all trades, but he's a master of many things. And that's Dominic Szoboszlai. I like Ekitike. I like the fact, well, I don't like anyone getting injured, but I think Isaac's injury has actually made the group reset. I think Florian Wirtz's form has made a decision for Arne Slot when he hasn't always started him in recent weeks. And you have to say Ekitike is now the one that they can build around. He can be a little bit hit and miss. He can be a little bit more experimental because Salah's there to do his job. Gakpo's there to do his job. The midfield, we all know the midfield at this point, including the centre-backs and the keeper when Alisson's fit. Conor Bradley, Robertson. It's a very similar Liverpool side to last season, but Ekitike comes in and brings something different. This Manchester City side are going to have to deal with someone who's far more languid and techie than anyone of Liverpool have had in recent years. Maybe since Firmino, who used to have a lot of joy against this Manchester City backline in the early Guardiola years. Firmino dropping deep, linking up play. I think Salah, Ekitike, and maybe it's Gakpo off the left, can find a lot of joy against this Manchester City backline, you have to say. And then my final point I want to talk about is someone like Florian Wirtz, who looked far better against Real Madrid, was running with the ball exceptionally well. His work rate is absolutely high quality. The thing about Florian Wirtz, when I watched him at Bayer Leverkusen, it was always high work rate. I think a lot of people are slagging him off for having high work rate. People are making up stats on Sky Sports to kind of bat that he's having a good campaign so far, but he is in terms of his numbers. He's not down in tools. He's not lazy by any means. He's just having some poor form in terms of link-up play and numbers. But his work rate is everything that he's good at. When he was at Bayer Leverkusen, he'd work exceptionally hard, win the ball high at the pitch, drive with the ball with great pace, with great physicality, and then link up play at really, really quick rate. And I thought Florian Wirtz's final product against Real Madrid was absolutely superb. He puts a cross in the second half, I think it was, that was perfectly weighted, and the Liverpool forward missed it. But Florian Wirtz is finding his feet in terms of the end product. There's no question about it. Manchester City at home have to be slight favourites. Have to be. I've talked about Erling Haaland so much. I'm actually gassed to sit here and say there's someone else we can look at to see if they can score a big goal in this game. Now, Phil Foden's done that in Manchester City's first victory at Anfield in about 15 years in a 4-1 win in and around COVID time. So Phil Foden is used to scoring big goals against Liverpool, against top 6 opposition. He scored a brace against Borussia Dortmund of the highest standard. So if you're looking for anyone to score a goal in this game that isn't Erling Haaland, it will be Phil Foden. The midfield suits him so well. Erling Haaland last week against Bournemouth is the beneficiary of first-time instinctive passing through the lines from Nico Gonzalez. Cherki heads it onto him and he scores this beautiful, beautiful one-on-one strike. Phil Foden is very similar to Erling Haaland in a number of ways. He loves when Rodri breaks the lines really quick with a quick first-time ball. De Bruyne used to do it as well. Bernardo Silva would find Phil Foden. He could swivel, he could shoot, he could swivel, play an inverted pass. And Phil Foden's finding his best form, obviously, in about a year, since maybe the start of the previous season or the end of the previous season. It's down to Nico Gonzalez. It's down to Reinders, who was absolutely superb against Dortmund. Phil Foden lives on instinct. He's not someone that is slow and lackadaisical, and Foden's not a Pirlo spraying things around. He's not a Rodri. He's not even someone like Ilkay Gundogan was a little bit more measured, a little bit calmer. Then he'd arrive at the end and be a bit more kind of almost pragmatic in his build-up play. I was going to say Florian Wirtz, but Phil Foden's explosive, very similar to Florian Wirtz. He's an explosive, dynamic attacker that scores big goals from outside the box. He always has done. And we're looking at Phil Foden, I think, on the edge of the box when Liverpool may be sitting deep and trying to protect potentially some sort of lead. Phil Foden on the edge of the box is finding his shooting range, and it's very, very important for Manchester City. Of course, Erling Haaland as well, 30 goals and or assists in 17 matches this season is frightening. Obviously, you're including Norway in there, I think it is as well, but it's absolutely frightening. Van Dijk and Konate have had good games against Erling Haaland in the last 3 years, but you have to say, even if Erling Haaland doesn't score, I think his build-up play is getting a lot better. I think he's carrying the ball a lot stronger. I still think he's an absolute nuisance, and I think he'll be able to link up with whoever's playing on the right. I'm hoping personally it's someone like Cherki who can play on the right, tuck into midfield with Reinders, with Foden, with Nico, have a lot of the ball. And I think anything bounces off of Erling Haaland messing with defenders, it's going to fall to Cherki, who scored a great goal against Dortmund after being on for about 5 minutes. Phil Foden on the edge of the box, like I've said. Reinders is due a goal as well. So I like the quality around Erling Haaland, even if he doesn't score. It's getting better and better. Jeremy Doku versus Conor Bradley is going to be a really, really exciting matchup. Conor Bradley looked absolutely electric against Vinicius. And look, Vinicius is obviously far better than Jeremy Doku right now. Doku is a very different kind of winger. He's used to Conor Bradley a little bit more, used to the Premier League, a Premier League right back. So I think Doku isn't going to be as vulnerable as Vinicius looked, or calling for fouls or anything like that. But I think it's going to be a very, very balanced kind of matchup, and very exciting to see that, see what happens there. Doku was electric against Dortmund as well. And the final one, I'm a simple guy. I like a defensive midfielder. I like Gareth Barry. That's who I am. I love my defensive midfielders. My favourite position on the pitch. I miss Fernandinho. I love Rodri, etc., etc. Nico Gonzalez is turned into a really top-level footballer. It's happened since the start of the season. He was strangely not trusted in big moments last season. I know he's young, coming in from Porto. Very expensive January transfer. But it's reaping the rewards. This City side absolutely tick with Nico Gonzalez. It's really exceptional to see what he's doing. He's finding his passing range. He's hitting things with an extreme amount of accuracy. He's beginning to pass through the lines with intensity. He wins things very, very clean. Doesn't give too many fouls away. Very mobile. He's lost a little bit of probably weight, or added a little bit of sort of acceleration and pace. He's an all-round combative defensive midfielder, and he's approaching a very, very high level. He's been there for quite a few months now. I think Liverpool will struggle to deal with Nico Gonzalez if he plays with Cherki and Reinders and Foden, and then you have Doku off the left with Haaland. I think that's a very exciting 11, with Nico O'Reilly hopefully tucking into midfield as well. I actually think Manchester City might have too much for Liverpool on the day. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. By the way, Liverpool got Forest, West Ham, Sunderland after this. So, look, a draw's weirdly better for Liverpool because it's an away day. Still have to face Manchester City at Anfield, of course. Whereas Man City have to win this game, in my opinion. Newcastle United coming up, Leeds and Fulham, while Arsenal have got some tricky fixtures. You have to apply pressure while Arsenal face the likes of Chelsea coming up in recent weeks, the North London derby. Manchester City have to win this kind of game, and I think Manchester City will win this game 3-0. I was so gassed by the Dortmund performance. It was scary at points how good it was. It was looking like a prime Guardiola side. Now, there's still a massive gulf between winning a treble and this Man City side. It's years away. But it's on the trajectory. Last season, I sat there, I thought, there's no trajectory. There's no journey. I don't know what we're doing. I don't know where we're going. This City side, I now see it. It is mobile. It's quick. It's aggressive. It comes at you from all angles. Haaland's quick. Doku's quick. Marmoush is quick. Kujanov is quick. Nico O'Reilly. It goes on and on. Ait Nuri. There's so much pace in the City side. It's absolutely staggering. I think it's going to be too much for Liverpool. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. 3-0 to Manchester City. That's my prediction. And I'll see you very, very soon.